When the universe is preparing you for something of immense significance, it does not begin with comfort, nor does it start with clarity. It begins with dissolution. It begins with the cracking of the foundations upon which you have built your identity, your attachments, your plans, your very understanding of the world. This is the paradox that escapes the ordinary mind. What feels like loss is often the universe's most compassionate act of realignment. At first, it will seem like betrayal. The job you trusted, the relationship you believed would endure, the certainties you clung to, all begin to wither or fall apart. It will appear as though life itself is conspiring against you, as though the ground beneath your feet is intentionally giving way. And in a sense it is, not because life wishes to harm you, but because the life you were living had become too small for the larger truth that wishes to emerge through you. The unconscious forces that stir within the human psyche are not content with comfort alone. They are not satisfied with a life of mere survival, repetition, or routine. There exists within each of us a deeper call toward individuation, toward the realization of our fullest potential, and this call cannot be answered within the confines of the structures that once felt safe. Thus, the universe, in its mysterious and often ruthless love, intervenes. And what does this intervention look like? It looks like breakdown. It looks like endings that you did not choose. It looks like confusion, chaos, and the unbearable weight of uncertainty. You may stand in the ashes of what once was and believe that you have been abandoned. But I say to you, this is the precise terrain where the seeds of your greatest becoming are sown. The universe must first strip away what no longer serves you, often without your consent, because the ego will rarely volunteer for such a death. The ego fears endings. It fears the unknown. It will grasp onto old skins even if they suffocate the soul beneath. Yet this collapse is not arbitrary. It is intelligent. It is purposeful. It is the cosmos speaking to you in the only language that cannot be ignored: destruction. When everything begins to fall apart, you are forced to encounter the aspects of yourself that were hidden beneath the distractions of the known world. You are brought face to face with your unprocessed grief, your suppressed desires, your forgotten dreams, and your deepest wounds. You can no longer escape into the comfort of roles and identities that once masked these truths. The universe strips them away, leaving you exposed, raw, vulnerable. This vulnerability is not weakness. It is the sacred gateway to transformation. It is in these moments of collapse that the psyche opens most fully to the whispers of the unconscious, to the stirrings of new life that seek to emerge through the cracks of the old. But these stirrings are subtle at first. They will not shout over the noise of your grief or the chaos of your disorientation. They will whisper through dreams, through fleeting intuitions, through the quiet sense that, perhaps, everything falling apart is not the end, but the beginning of something you cannot yet see. In the mythology of every culture, there is the theme of the hero or heroine who must descend into the underworld, who must face the dissolution of all they thought they were. This is not mere metaphor. It is a reflection of an inner necessity. The universe is the great initiator, and its initiation rites are rarely gentle. They demand that you surrender your false certainties, your old masks, your attachments to how things were supposed to be. And this surrender is painful because it requires the death of the familiar self. But hear me clearly, this death is always in service of a deeper life. It is the soil from which your truer self can take root and flourish. When everything begins to collapse, you are being called into an intimate dialogue with the universe itself. You are being asked to relinquish your illusions of control, to sit in the sacred darkness of unknowing, and to trust that, though you cannot see the path ahead, the path is forming under your feet with every courageous step you take. And though the process feels like abandonment, it is in truth a profound act of love. For the universe would not let you stay in a world too small for the magnitude of your soul. It would not let you settle for a life that does not honor the fullness of who you are capable of becoming. And so it intervenes, not to punish you, but to liberate you, not to destroy you, but to strip away all that prevents you from stepping into the life that waits beyond the ruins. Once the collapse of the known begins, there arises within the individual a peculiar unrest. It is not born from external chaos alone, but from a mysterious stirring deep within the psyche. This restlessness cannot be soothed by ordinary distractions or the comforts that once sufficed. It is an ache, a gnawing sense that life as it is no longer enough. You may attempt to dismiss it, to rationalize it as mere dissatisfaction or fatigue, but it persists. It shadows your days, lingers in your quiet moments, whispers to you when you are alone. It is the signal that the universe is calling you to a larger field of experience. At this stage, you may feel torn between what you have known and what you cannot yet name. There is an invisible chasm between your current life and the life that calls to you from beyond the edges of your comprehension. And yet, this life has no clear form, no visible shape to pursue. It exists as a yearning, a longing for something more, though you cannot yet define what that more is. This is the language of the soul. Imprecise, elusive, but powerful. It does not speak in straight lines or logical steps. It communicates through the unease that tugs at your heart, through the quiet knowing that there is something beyond this moment that you must discover. This restlessness is not a flaw, nor is it an inconvenience to be medicated or silenced. It is the very movement of life within you, urging you to evolve, to stretch beyond the confines of your current existence. It is the ancient call toward transformation, the archetypal invitation to step onto the path of the unknown. And though the conscious mind may resist, clinging to the safety of familiar routines, the deeper self knows that this restlessness will not leave you in peace until it has been honored. Many will attempt to ignore this inner calling. They will drown it in busyness, in obligations, in the endless noise of the external world. They will convince themselves that it is foolish to abandon what they have worked so hard to build. And yet, no matter how tightly they hold onto the old structures, the ache will grow stronger, for it is not satisfied with comfort alone. It demands authenticity. It demands the unfolding of your true potential. You may notice this restlessness manifesting in strange ways. Activities that once brought you joy now feel hollow. Relationships that once felt nourishing begin to feel stagnant. The roles you have played so skillfully begin to feel like costumes that no longer fit. There is a subtle disorientation, as if you are no longer fully present in the life you are living. And this, too, is part of the preparation. The universe is loosening your attachments, making the familiar feel foreign, so that you will be more willing to release them when the time comes. You may feel tempted to see this as a sign of something wrong with you. But I tell you, it is not a pathology. It is a sign of life stirring within you in new and unfamiliar ways. It is the sacred discomfort that precedes all great transformations. It is the seed pushing against the soil, the caterpillar dissolving into the chrysalis. The old self is becoming too small for the vastness that seeks to be born through you. It is important in these moments not to rush towards solutions or to force clarity where there is none. The restlessness is not a problem to be solved, but a threshold to be crossed. It requires patience, courage, and a willingness to sit in the tension of the unknown, for it is in this tension that the unconscious begins to reveal its treasures. If you can endure the discomfort without fleeing back into the old patterns, you will find that the restlessness becomes a guide rather than a tormentor. It will point you toward the cracks in your life where new light is waiting to enter. In this stage, you are not yet asked to know the path ahead. You are only asked to listen deeply to the call within, to honor the yearning that refuses to be silenced. Trust that the restlessness is not leading you into emptiness, but into a life more aligned with your authentic self. The universe prepares you by first making the old life intolerable, by igniting within you a holy dissatisfaction that propels you toward the unknown shores of your destiny. This is not a comfortable process, nor is it one you can control. But if you can trust the ache, if you can allow the restlessness to work upon you, it will carry you across the threshold into the next chapter of your unfolding. When the collapse has begun and the ache of restlessness has taken root in the depths of your soul, the universe begins to speak in a language that bypasses the logic of the conscious mind. It speaks through patterns, symbols, and the mysterious phenomena of synchronicity. You will begin to notice that certain images, numbers, or themes repeatedly appear in your life. These are not coincidences in the shallow sense of the word. They are moments where the inner world and the outer world meet in an undeniable dance, reminding you that life is not as random or chaotic as it might seem. Synchronicities often arrive quietly at first. Perhaps you think of a person you have not seen in years, and they call you the next day. Perhaps a phrase or image shows up in a book, in a conversation, in a song, and then again in your dreams, weaving itself into your awareness from multiple directions. These are the subtle ways in which the universe signals that the veil between the conscious and unconscious realms is thinning, that you are being drawn into a deeper, more meaningful dialogue with life itself. At first, you may dismiss these moments as chance. The rational mind, shaped by a worldview that separates the inner from the outer, will tell you that these patterns are meaningless, that they are products of your imagination. But I urge you not to listen to that voice, for when the universe is preparing you for something extraordinary, it begins to erode the rigid walls between the seen and the unseen. It invites you into a conversation that cannot be understood with the intellect alone. It is a conversation that speaks the symbolic language of the soul. The more you begin to pay attention to these synchronicities, the more they will appear. It is as though the universe rewards your willingness to listen, and they will not always be gentle. Sometimes they will be disruptive, forcing you to pause, to question, to reconsider the path you are on. You may find yourself encountering the same message over and over again from different sources until you can no longer deny its significance. You may feel as though something larger than yourself is orchestrating the events of your life, nudging you toward a destiny you cannot yet see. These moments are sacred. They are the breadcrumbs left for you by the universe, guiding you through the darkness of uncertainty. They are the reassurance that even though everything seems to be unraveling, there is a deeper order at work beneath the chaos. They are the living proof that your life is not an isolated island, but a thread in the vast web of existence, woven together by forces that transcend the understanding of the ego. When you open yourself to this symbolic language, you will find that the world itself becomes alive with meaning. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The bird that crosses your path, the stranger who speaks a certain phrase, the dream that lingers in your mind upon waking, all become messengers. And yet, it is crucial not to fall into the trap of trying to control or manipulate these signs. They are not tools for the ego to use in pursuit of certainty. They are invitations to surrender deeper into the mystery of your unfolding journey. It is also important to recognize that these synchronicities often appear most intensely when you are on the threshold of profound transformation. They serve as confirmations that you are not lost, even if your conscious mind feels adrift. They serve as signposts from the universe, gently or at times forcefully, redirecting you toward the path of your highest potential. They remind you that you are being prepared, that forces larger than your limited will are shaping your life from behind the scenes. In moments of despair or confusion, when everything within you screams for clarity, these synchronicities offer the subtle reassurance that you are not alone in the chaos. The universe is whispering, weaving, arranging, beckoning you forward, even if the destination remains hidden. But you must be willing to listen. You must cultivate the sensitivity to recognize these sacred echoes of the unconscious in your daily life. It is through these symbolic encounters that the universe reveals its hand, not by offering you step-by-step instructions, but by awakening your awareness to the invisible currents that are carrying you toward your destiny. And so, when the same symbol appears again and again, when the patterns become too undeniable to ignore, pause, listen, reflect. Ask yourself not what the sign means according to some external source, but what it stirs within you. For the true meaning of the symbol lies not in the outer world alone, but in the dialogue it opens within your own depths. And if you are willing to enter into this dialogue, if you are willing to walk the path of synchronicity with humility and curiosity, you will find that the universe is not a distant, cold machine, but an intimate companion, guiding you step by step toward the life that has been waiting for you all along. As the synchronicities weave their mysterious patterns into your life, you will begin to notice that certain individuals appear at precisely the right moment. These are not ordinary encounters, though they may seem so on the surface. They are not by chance. They are part of the great orchestration that the universe sets in motion when it prepares you for something beyond your current comprehension. You will find that these people, some arriving for a fleeting moment, others staying longer, serve as catalysts for your awakening. They come not to comfort you, but to disrupt you, to mirror aspects of yourself you had forgotten or refused to see. These encounters are not always gentle. Sometimes they come disguised as conflict, as tension, as painful lessons that force you to confront what you have been avoiding within yourself. Other times they come as sudden bursts of inspiration, as mentors whose words or actions awaken a dormant part of your soul. You must not mistake them for mere coincidences. These individuals are archetypal figures, summoned by the unconscious forces within you, reflected outward into the world, arriving exactly when the conditions of your psyche demand them. It may be the teacher who speaks one sentence that cracks open your rigid worldview. It may be the stranger who asks you a question you cannot answer, but that lingers in your mind like a seed that refuses to die. It may be a lover, a friend, or even an adversary whose presence ignites a fire within you that you did not know existed. In all these forms, they serve the same purpose: to initiate you into a new stage of your unfolding. Often, these guides do not come wearing the mask of wisdom. They may appear as ordinary people. Their presence in your life may feel accidental, circumstantial, or even disruptive. But if you pay attention, you will see that they hold the key to doors within you that would otherwise remain locked. They provoke you into action, into reflection, into movement beyond the paralysis of your comfort zone. They do not tell you what to do. They awaken within you the courage to take the steps you already know you must take. You must also be prepared to recognize that some of these figures are temporary. They are not meant to walk the entire path with you. They appear to fulfill a specific role, to deliver a specific message, and once that purpose has been served, they will fade from your life as mysteriously as they arrived. This, too, is the universe's design. Clinging to them beyond their season will only delay your progress. Their departure is not abandonment. It is an invitation to continue the journey on your own terms, integrating the lessons they have stirred within you. And there will be those rare few who accompany you for longer stretches, whose presence feels like a lighthouse in the storm. These are the soul companions, the rare mentors or friends who walk beside you through the darkest valleys and the most luminous peaks. They too are part of the orchestration. Yet even with them, you must resist the temptation to project onto them the authority that rightly belongs to your own inner self. They are guides, not saviors. They hold up mirrors so that you might see your own face more clearly. There is a sacred intelligence in the way these encounters unfold. The universe will not allow you to remain isolated when you are on the verge of a great transformation. It will send you those who disrupt your patterns, who stir your stagnant waters, who dare to challenge the lies you have told yourself about who you are and what you are capable of becoming. And it is not always comfortable to receive such mirrors. It is easier to retreat into the familiar roles and narratives that keep you small. But if you can recognize these encounters for what they are, if you can embrace the discomfort they bring, you will discover that they are sacred messengers disguised as ordinary people. You are not alone in this journey. Even when the path feels desolate, when the darkness seems impenetrable, the universe ensures that you will meet those who will remind you of your own light. They may not speak in grand proclamations. They may speak in simple gestures, in ordinary words that land in your heart like thunder. Pay attention. The universe is speaking through them. It is guiding you through these figures, toward the destiny that awaits you beyond the confines of your current world. It is through these encounters that you will come to understand that your transformation is not an isolated, solitary event. It is woven into the greater web of existence, where each person you meet is a thread, a symbol, a sign, pointing you toward the next step in your unfolding story. When the universe has dismantled your certainties, stirred the ache of restlessness within you, spoken through the quiet language of synchronicity, and sent the necessary figures across your path, there comes a phase that most find unbearable. Yet it is the most sacred of all. It is the void. It is the empty space where the old has fallen away and the new has not yet taken form. In this space you feel stripped of identity, of purpose, of direction. You look around and see no clear signposts, no solid ground upon which to stand. This is the in-between, the liminal, the threshold of becoming. It is here that the deepest work of transformation takes place, not in action, but in the art of surrender. This phase is not one of doing, but of being. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, knows that before something new can be born, there must be space. It knows that your mind, frantic to construct meaning, will struggle against this emptiness, will demand explanations and strategies. But the void cannot be filled by willpower or cleverness. It can only be honored through presence, through allowing, through the quiet, aching acceptance of what is. Many will mistake this period for failure. They will tell themselves they have lost their way, that they have been abandoned by life itself. They will search frantically for answers, for distractions, for anything that can numb the discomfort of this vast inner silence. And yet, the more they resist, the deeper the void will draw them in. For it is not a punishment, but a necessary purification. It is the womb of the new self, the sacred darkness where the old patterns are dissolved, where the soul prepares itself to receive the vision of what is to come. In this space, the ego trembles, for it can no longer anchor itself in roles or identities. It cannot prove its worth through accomplishments or titles. It is faced with the unbearable truth of its own limitations, its own impermanence, and this is precisely the point. The universe strips you bare so that you might finally meet yourself, beyond the masks and pretenses you have worn for so long. It is only in the stillness of this emptiness that the authentic self can begin to whisper its truths to you. You may feel as though you are lost in a desert, wandering without direction, praying for a sign that will bring relief. But if you can resist the urge to flee, if you can sit in the discomfort of this vast interior space, you will discover that the emptiness is not empty at all. It is alive. It is fertile. It is filled with the raw, untamed energy of potential. But this potential will not reveal itself to the impatient mind. It will only unfold when you have surrendered completely, when you have released your grip on the life you thought you were supposed to have. In this phase, patience becomes your greatest ally. Trust becomes your deepest practice. You are asked to trust not in outcomes, not in guarantees, but in the process itself. To trust that the universe is working on you in ways that you cannot yet see, that the seeds of your future have already been planted, even if they remain hidden beneath the soil of your current awareness. To trust that the darkness is not the end, but the sacred gestation of a new life. This is the place where the alchemy of the soul occurs, where the old self is broken down into its elemental parts, and the new self is slowly, quietly, invisibly being shaped. You may feel as though nothing is happening. You may feel abandoned by the very forces that once seemed to guide you. But this, too, is part of the initiation. The universe steps back so that you might finally face yourself, so that you might discover the strength, the wisdom, the resilience that lives within you, untethered from any external source. You must not rush this phase. You must not demand to know what comes next. For the more you can rest within the not knowing, the more space you create for the new to arise organically from the depths of your own soul. And when the time is right, when the universe has prepared you fully, when you have been hollowed out enough to receive the vision, the next chapter will begin to take form, not as a product of your will, but as a natural, inevitable emergence from within. The void is not the enemy. It is the sacred crucible where the universe strips away all that is false, all that is no longer aligned, so that what is true may finally be born. When the void has done its silent work upon you, when the inner landscape has been emptied of all that no longer serves, there comes a subtle, almost imperceptible shift. It does not arrive as a thunderclap, nor as a grand announcement from the heavens. It emerges quietly, like the first breath of spring after a long winter, like the faint glow of dawn after a night that seemed endless. You may not even recognize it at first, so accustomed have you become to the heaviness, the stillness, the aching absence of clarity. But there it is, a stirring, a whisper, a gentle nudge from within that tells you the time of preparation is drawing to a close. It is in this delicate transition that you begin to feel the call to step forward, to act. But this action is not the frantic, ego-driven striving of the past. It is not born of desperation or the need to control. It arises from a place of deep alignment, from a center that has been forged in the fires of your surrender. You are no longer chasing a goal out of fear or lack. You are responding to an inner knowing that now pulses steadily within you, guiding you with a clarity that is quiet but unshakable. At first, these impulses may seem small, insignificant even. You may feel the urge to begin writing, to reach out to someone, to explore an unfamiliar path. You may not yet see the full picture, and that is as it should be. The universe reveals the next steps only when you are ready, and only as much as is needed for the moment. Your task now is not to demand the entire map, but to take the step that is right before you, to trust that each action taken from this place of alignment will lead to the next and the next, until the greater vision unfolds naturally before you. This phase requires a delicate balance of trust and courage. Trust in the unseen forces that have been shaping you all along, and courage to act even when the outcome remains uncertain. The universe does not prepare you in vain. It does not whisper through synchronicities, does not send mentors and guides, does not strip you down to your essence, only to leave you standing still in fear. When you feel the call to act, you must respond, even if your mind trembles with doubt, even if your old fears rise up to challenge you one last time. It is through these first steps that the universe begins to mirror back to you the truth of your readiness. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will now present themselves. Doors that were closed will creak open, but you must be willing to walk through them. You must recognize that the universe can only meet you halfway. It can prepare you, guide you, arrange the conditions, but it cannot take the step for you. That is your part in the dance. That is where your will must align with the greater will that has been working upon you in the shadows. You may find that what once terrified you now feels natural, even inevitable. You may feel a calm determination where once there was only anxiety. This is the fruit of your inner work, the reward for your patience in the void. The clarity you now feel is not given from the outside, but rises from within, from the integration of all the lessons, trials, and awakenings you have endured. You no longer need the world to confirm your path. The confirmation lives within your own bones, in the quiet authority of your embodied knowing. And yet, you must remain humble. The path ahead is not without its challenges. The universe will continue to test your resolve, to ensure that your actions remain rooted in authenticity, rather than the old patterns of fear or pride. You will still face obstacles, still encounter moments of doubt, but these will no longer have the power to derail you as they once did, because you have tasted the strength that comes from walking in alignment with the deeper currents of your soul. This is the moment when you step into the arena, when you bring forth into the world what has been gestating within you all along. It is the phase of embodiment, where you no longer speak of what might be, but live it, breathe it, become it. And in doing so, you become not only the student of the universe's mysterious workings, but also its vessel, its channel, its living expression. For when the universe prepares you for something big, it is not merely for your own benefit. It is so that through you, something larger can move, something that will ripple outward into the lives of others, into the world itself. You are the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between the potential and the actual. And when you step forward in this way, you honor not only your own becoming, but the sacred intelligence that has been guiding you all along. And so, when you begin to notice the patterns, the people, the silence, the aching hunger for more, know that it is not an accident. Know that the universe has been working behind the veil of your awareness, shaping you, calling you,